All right, we are back live on the marketplace floor here at Forrester B2B Summit. Thank you so much again, Forrester, for making this possible. So many great conversations over the last couple of days. We are right in the middle of day 2 of the 2026 Forrester B2B Summit, talking to analysts, talking to CMOs, talking to ROI award winners, just having a really great time. Very excited to have with us right now the CMO of Rockwell Automation, Brian Hovey. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, thank you.
And congratulations on
Thanks.
winning a B2B ROI award. That's a very big deal, a very coveted award. Tell us a little bit more about the programs you have going on and sort of what you submitted to win.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and I appreciate having the opportunity to come on. So essentially back in 2023, the organization was going through some fairly significant change coming out of COVID and the pandemic and the supply chain crisis. We had also acquired a number of different businesses. And so, there was a view that the business was really set up for long-term growth. And so there was aggressive growth plans that were put forward. But when we stepped back and looked at the demand engine that was in place, there were some really significant gaps. Mm-hmm. And so what the project that we worked on was really re-architecting and transforming that opportunity to demand engine to be able to support the overall growth in the business.
Yeah. Boy, that opportunity to me, sometimes we describe that as the messy middle, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where you've got, you do a great job sort of building awareness and sometimes driving leads. And the sales team, they've got their methodology and they've got their whole thing, but like going from lead to opportunity. And not just managing that process, but for your targets, it's not just one person. We got a large buying group and a lot of people involved and a lot of consensus building and confidence building that has to happen along the way. How are you doing that as a CMO, and what are the ways you have to integrate with your sales counterparts to make that possible?
Yeah, no, it's a great question. Well, actually, one of the parts of this project was you talked about buying groups. Mm-hmm. Prior to the changes that we put in place, we really didn't have an opportunity-based waterfall that was being executed consistently, and we weren't standardized on buyer groups. So those are two significant changes coupled with improving the data foundation that's really helped us in being able to make that move forward to have an effective overall engine. And so a couple of things that helped with. So one, on the data side, and we were able to provide a much more robust set of data to the sales teams to be able to help contextualize what this opportunity was. Second thing is that engaging the buyer group, as you said, it's a very complex buying process. There are a lot of constituents that are involved. And so being able to think about all of those different personas, how do we effectively market to them and how do we bring them along together as part of the opportunity process was a big step forward.
One of the, it's so fascinating, of course, the last couple of days, just not only talking what people are doing right now, but also their journeys and what got them there. And very rarely do we see someone in a CMO role step into a sales leadership role, but that's what you did. You were CMO at Honeywell, and you stepped into a VP of Sales Excellence role. I want to hear why, and then I want to talk about what you learned. So maybe the two-part question.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So one thing I would say is I've been fortunate to work really closely with great sales leaders and with sales organizations throughout my career, but it was a big step. Yeah. And, for me, the reason why was a lot of it was based on need and opportunity within the business at that point in time. The business was going through a fairly significant change, and a lot of that had to do with how do we really drive sales excellence across the organization, whether it be about how we're deploying the sales team, how we improve the way that they plan, and the way they execute. So it was a great opportunity for me to step in, and I think that it was also a significant learning opportunity for me because I'll tell you, if you have not carried a bag or worked closely with the sales teams, I don't think you fully comprehend how difficult it is to be out there on the front lines. Yeah. And so I learned a lot from that, and I think it's helped me as I've moved back into the marketing domain because now it's like, I have that empathy, but then B, I can use that to prioritize. Are the things that we're doing going to make a difference? Yep. And so that's been a big help.
So I think that gives you not only knowledge and insights, but also credibility, right? Like I think too often when sales and marketing teams try to work together, like they may have sort of jazz hands at sales kickoff, But when you get into the weeds, I don't know that they always trust each other. They don't always trust. You don't know what I do, right? Or you think I'm just pretty pictures, or you think all I want is someone to, sign at the end and I have to give you everything. It gets kind of visceral. And sometimes that's not based on what happened at this company. It's based on what happened at your last company and the baggage you brought with you. It's easier said than done, for sure. The other unique thing for you is, like, there's so many diverse backgrounds, and I feel like we're increasingly seeing more engineers become CMOs. Do you have a hypothesis of why that might be?
Well, I mean, one thing, we are an inherently technical businesses, but for me, like, I think that there's an element of even about me as to why I became an engineer. And, it's this inquisitive nature around how things work. Yeah. And so, that's something that's, I think, always been there for me. And it's what made engineering attractive. It's made why, moving into businesses that develop solutions, why that was I think a logical step and somewhere that I've really felt comfortable and where I could thrive. And I think that having that degree of, one, technical knowledge, but then two, the interest in really learning and engaging and asking the questions, I think has helped as I've engaged with our customers, as I've engaged with our engineering teams. I feel like I have enough credibility and enough knowledge that I can ask the right questions, but then I can learn so much. And I think that degree of inquisitiveness also it helps people open up, which then I can take back and use that knowledge to be able to influence the things that we do, the way we engage with our customers, the programs we put in place out in the market.
Talking here on the Forrester B2B Summit floor with Brian Harvey. He's the VP of Global Marketing and Chief Marketing Officer at Rockwell Automation. Can we talk about Automation Fair?
Yeah.
That sounds like so much fun. 15,000 plus attendees last year. Create What Next theme last year. Your quote, "We're all here with the same mission to create what's next for our teams, our customers, and the industries we serve." Some people are more natural at creating things. Some people maybe more risk adverse in doing that. How do you create an environment at Automation Fair to make that safe and fun and productive for people?
Yeah. It's having, still being relatively new to Rockwell, I've just been amazed at what the team does with Automation Fair. It is a massive event, and it's a multi-layered engagement approach. Like we train technical engineers who work on our products day in and day out. That's one part. We're engaging with C-level audiences. So I think part of it is that creation comes by meeting people where they are, by talking to them about what matters in a contextual manner, and then creating a safe space to have those open discussions. And as a company, we have the benefit of having hundreds of years or 100+ years of experience that we bring to bear. So there's a level of trust, but you have to keep earning that trust. And so it's engaging with the customers, talking to them about the problems and the challenges they're facing, and then engaging with them in solutioning. I think that's where the real excitement comes in. And so it's a great opportunity, lots of big machines moving around, good discussions to be had. So
I love it. And when I think about a fair, I think about show me what you got.
Yeah.
Right. And so this isn't you come and you get a bunch of experts telling you what to do. This is going to be all of us working together to find common solutions. I think another one of those angles that I've seen at Automation Fair is that this sustainability as part of manufacturing, and sort of a sustainability opportunity and maybe even mandate for manufacturers to get smarter in the industrial sector. Talk about what you've done to sort of, obviously, Rockwell, well known as an automation vendor, but really helping to position it as a sustainability enabler for the industrial sector as well.
Yeah, no, it's a great point. And you think about the way that manufacturing processes work, the energy consumption, the potential for waste. And so we've attacked sustainability in a number of different facets. One clearly is looking at our operations. And so how can we be more sustainable in the way our plants work, the way just our enterprise runs? But then how do we work with customers to not only to help them solve their problems around, or the challenges around resiliency, uptime, revenue growth, but also then working with them so that it's not an either or proposition.
Mm-hmm.
They can achieve those objectives while doing so sustainably. Mm-hmm. So, thinking about the design of solutions so that it minimizes power consumption.
Yeah.
Thinking about the way things are produced to minimize waste. Like if you're thinking about with food production or something along those lines, if you can reduce tolerances, you're limiting the waste, which has a cost savings, but it also has an environmental benefit as well. So I think helping it with that, I guess, the and versus the either or is really the key for us from a manufacturing standpoint.
I think so often you see people do like greenwashing and green PR, and like we try to have an angle because we want to have the optics, or we want our investors to think we're doing it, but doing it where you actually have the impact as well, in a way that you can be proud of, that your customers and employees can be proud of. Like that's a great story that can bring people together.
Yeah,
that's awesome. I've noticed you've been doing some advisory board work as well, and usually when I see someone doing advisory work, oftentimes that is unpaid, oftentimes it's sort of volunteer, but it indicates someone's ready to give back. Take some of the knowledge and skills and experience you have, sort of help the next group coming up. Talk about your interest in advisory work and what you're trying to achieve there.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and actually I'll talk about two different things. One is the the advisory work that I'm doing with Aviso, but then I'll also touch on a nonprofit that I'm working with. But with Aviso, so they were actually a partner that we worked with when I was back at Honeywell. And so we had worked with them in the sales domain on looking at how you effectively manage opportunities, how you think about deal scoring, and that sort of thing. And they're a great company in terms of how they're an AI-first organization, new ways to approach problems, and they're consistently innovating. And so it's been great to be able to engage with them, be a former client, and now someone who can help provide some context to them, to help them as they're continuing to grow their business. And so that's been really exciting. The other thing is I'm on the board for a nonprofit that's focused on STEM. Nice. So, so here you touched on engineering and being in the technical domain. This organization, it's called DigiBridge, is a Charlotte-based organization that's focused on, helping with Title I schools. So those who are, in environments that are underrepresented, how do you build that passion, that interest, and the aptitude around actually not just STEM, but we talk about STEAM. So actually the art element as well. And it's just been such a rewarding experience to work with them, to look at how they can continue to grow the impact they're having. They're working with 38 schools today. And we're working on their strategic plan to be able to grow the impact. And these are the next scientists, maybe 100%. The next CMOs 100%. That are going to be out there. And so super exciting work.
I love that. My wife teaches at a Title I school back up in Seattle. She's a reading interventionist. And for those of you who don't know, as a Title I school, to qualify, one of the things that you have to, at least half of your students have to qualify for free or reduced lunch. So these are kids that don't have the advantages that a lot of other people have. And so I love that there are programs like this to not only give greater opportunities, but help kids build confidence in themselves, confidence in who they are and who they could become, that they may not get in other places in their lives. And just, having lived and watched and heard, what my wife has done in her school, just the impact a great teacher can have, the impact programs like that can have for kids, where she sees them in elementary school. And then, when they graduate from the nearby high school, a lot of them come back. And you don't know their full story. They're only done with high school. But she says it's amazing to see these kids that, really struggled in life in second and third grade and now have confidence and had esteem, pun intended, to sort of go do some really interesting things. And I don't know, I think about what we do here, sales and marketing, this is great. But what you're talking about there is that's foundational stuff. So Thank you for doing that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us here.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Yeah, appreciate it.
All right. Thank you.